Ever felt someone pull away just when things were getting good? Today, we're going inside the mind of an avoidantly attached partner to show you why love feels like danger and why you can't fix it from the outside.
Whether you're the one pulling away or the one left wondering what went wrong, this will change how you see relationships forever.
Hi, friends, and welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome to our community. I'm Tehrina Terry.
And I'm Joel Terry. We're licensed therapists with 30 years of experience between us, here to help you build healthy relationships.
And we do this through teaching you the ABCs of lasting love: attachment, boundaries, and communication. Really, all things relationships.
So if that sounds good to you and you like that kind of content, please subscribe to our channel and like this video.
This is the fourth episode in our 6-part series on attachment styles and relationship compatibility. We've crafted each video to work as a complete story with its own key insights and takeaways. So if you are joining us for the first time today, you'll still gain valuable relationship wisdom while following our characters' journeys. But if you want to experience the full story, we've created a playlist with all the previous episodes, which you'll find linked in the description box below.
But as a recap, in our previous videos, we followed Emma's journey from recognizing red flags with Michael to finding a relationship with Jack based on green flags and secure attachment. Today, we're shifting perspectives to understand Michael's experience, the internal world of someone with dismissive avoidant tendencies.
From your comments, we've noticed avoidant individuals are often mischaracterized as villains or narcissists. The reality is far more nuanced. We're also addressing a common misconception, which is that with enough patience or effort, an anxiously attached person can somehow fix or change their avoidant partner. As Michael's story will show, healing attachment patterns requires personal readiness and internal motivation. It's never something someone else can make happen for you.
Meet Michael. On the surface, he has everything together: successful career, close friends, and independence. But beneath this composed exterior lies a man who feels safest keeping others at arm's length.
Michael's attachment story began in childhood, where emotions were met with consistent dismissal. When he cried after falling off his bike, his father told him to toughen up. When he sought comfort after nightmares, his mother would say, "You're fine, go back to bed." When he shared excitement about school achievements, his parents seemed distracted or uninterested.
These moments taught Michael a crucial survival lesson: vulnerability leads to rejection. Independence became not just a value, but a protection strategy. He excelled academically, developed self-reliance, and learned to suppress emotional needs, traits initially praised by adults around him as maturity. But what looked like strength was actually an elaborate defense system. Michael wasn't choosing independence. He was avoiding the pain of connection.
Michael's relationship with Emma revealed the classic anxious-avoidant trap that creates suffering for both partners. Emma was emotionally expressive, sought connection, and needed reassurance, qualities that simultaneously attracted and threatened Michael.
Their early dating phase felt comfortable for Michael. The relationship was predictable, with clear boundaries and limited expectations. But as emotional intimacy deepened, Michael's internal alarm system activated.
After Emma first said, "I love you," Michael felt an overwhelming urge to escape.
And he didn't consciously think, "I need to pull away." Instead, he suddenly remembered urgent work deadlines, became irritated by Emma's texting frequency, and found himself too busy for date nights.
When Emma naturally sought reassurance, asking, "Is everything okay between us?" Michael's defenses strengthened.
He responded with statements that created emotional distance. "You're just overthinking things," or "I need space."
What Michael couldn't see was how his withdrawal triggered Emma's deepest fears of abandonment. The more he pulled away, the more anxiously she pursued connection. And the more she pursued, the more overwhelmed he became. This created a painful cycle where each person's attachment response intensified the other's insecurity, a dynamic neither person could resolve alone. regardless of how much Emma tried to accommodate
Mm.
Michael's avoidance.
And after months of this escalating pattern, Emma made the difficult but necessary choice to end the relationship, recognizing that her needs for consistency and emotional availability weren't being met.
It's crucial to understand that Emma's departure wasn't a failure on her part. She wasn't giving up
Mm.
on love. No amount of patience, understanding, or accommodation could have changed Michael's attachment pattern from the outside. His avoidance wasn't about Emma, it was about his own unresolved relationship with vulnerability.
Many anxiously attached individuals blame themselves when avoidant partners pull away, thinking, if I had just been less needy, or if I had given them more space. But Michael's story reveals the truth. His avoidance would have emerged in any relationship that approached emotional intimacy, regardless of his partner's approach.
Emma didn't cause Michael's avoidance, nor could she have cured it. Their attachment patterns created a dynamic where healing wasn't possible for either person while they remained together.
The breakup with Emma triggered something unexpected in Michael: genuine loss. Despite his dismissive tendencies, he found himself missing her, and this unfamiliar pain created a crack in his defensive armor.
6 weeks after the breakup, Michael attended a friend's dinner party where he met Olivia. Unlike Emma, Olivia had a calm, grounded presence that felt less threatening to Michael's independence. Her secure attachment style meant she stated her needs clearly, without emotional urgency.
But as their connection deepened, Michael noticed his old patterns reemerging. And after a particularly intimate conversation where Olivia shared a family struggle, Michael felt the familiar urge to pull away and created a work excuse to cancel plans.
That evening, sitting alone in his apartment, Michael experienced a moment of clarity. The pattern was repeating, and for the first time, he questioned it. Why do I always pull away just when relationships start feeling good? What am I actually afraid of?
This question marked Michael's first step towards attachment awareness. Through online research, he discovered the concept of dismissive avoidant attachment, and the description felt like reading his autobiography. And if you find yourself feeling that way after this video and want to understand your own attachment patterns more, take our free Boundaries and Attachment Styles quiz. It'll be linked in the description below.
Michael's growth wasn't because Olivia was better than Emma or because she used the right approach. It happened because his pain finally reached a threshold where avoidance no longer provided relief. This internal motivation, not external influence or pressure, was the catalyst for change.
And it's important to understand that Olivia's secure attachment style created a different dynamic than Emma's anxious attachment. When Michael withdrew, Olivia didn't chase or become anxious, responses that would have triggered more avoidance. Instead, she maintained her boundaries while giving him space, creating conditions where Michael could approach connection without feeling trapped.
But even this healthier dynamic wouldn't have mattered if Michael hadn't already begun his internal journey. Without his personal readiness to change, Olivia's secure responses would likely have led to the same outcome Emma experienced. Or even worse, had Olivia persisted, her naturally secure attachment may have shifted
Mm.
to more anxious.
Michael's path towards security began with three crucial steps that only he could take for himself. First, he sought therapy, a significant hurdle for someone who prided himself on his self sufficiency. His therapist helped him understand a profound truth. His avoidance wasn't a character flaw, but a creative survival strategy. As a child, when his emotional needs were consistently dismissed or ignored, his brain developed a brilliant protection mechanism. If you don't reach out for connection, you can't be rejected. This withdrawal was adaptive because it helped young Michael cope with an environment where emotional safety wasn't available. It protected him then, but as an adult, this same strategy was keeping him from the connection he secretly craved.
We wanted to pause here to address something that often comes up in the comments at this point in our videos. We know that Not every avoidantly attached person will reach this point of reflection. Some may continue avoiding vulnerability indefinitely. But remember, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them.
In the community we're building here, we focus on growth. So even if out of all the avoidantly attached individuals, only a few choose the path of healing, their lives and the secure, meaningful relationships they go on to build matter deeply to us. So we're going to share what that healing path looks like.
So, the second step on Michael's healing path was to begin practicing emotional awareness. He started journaling daily, tracking when he felt the urge to withdraw and identifying specific triggers. He discovered that moments of vulnerability, whether sharing a personal struggle or receiving affection, consistently activated his avoidance.
And with the third step, Michael practiced intentional communication with Olivia. When he felt the urge to pull away, he would say, I'm noticing I want to create distance right now. I need some time, but I'll check in tomorrow. This transparency allowed him to honor his need for space while maintaining connection.
Olivia's secure attachment style provided a healthy context for Michael's growth. But at this point, it's so crucial to understand this that we want to state it again. She did not fix him. Michael's healing required his own commitment to change patterns that once protected him, but now prevented the very connection he wanted.
Michael's healing revealed three unconscious beliefs driving his avoidance. One was that intimacy equated loss of self. Michael discovered that he equated emotional closeness with being consumed by another person's needs, losing his identity in the process.
Two was that dependency is dangerous. Years of emotional neglect taught Michael that needing others leads to disappointment. Self reliance felt safer than risking rejection.
And third was that emotions are threats. Michael learned to view feelings as problems to solve rather than experiences to share, making emotional intimacy feel like navigating a foreign language.
These beliefs weren't character flaws. They were protective adaptations that once served him, but now limited his capacity for connection.
Research on attachment dynamics reveals why the anxious avoidant pairing creates such a challenging cycle. Dr. Stan Tatkin's neurobiological studies show that when an anxiously attached person experiences their partner's withdrawal, their attachment system goes into hyperactivation, creating intense distress that triggers pursuit behaviors. Meanwhile, functional MRI studies by Dr. Helen Fisher demonstrate that when avoidant individuals experience this pursuit, their brain's threat detection system activates, triggering what neuroscientists call deactivating strategies, which is emotional shutdown and withdrawal to restore a sense of safety. And this creates what Dr. Sue Johnson calls the pursue withdrawal dance, a self reinforcing cycle where each person's attachment responses intensifies the others, creating increasing distress for both partners. The anxious partner moves closer, and the avoidant partner retreats further, creating a spiral of disconnection that feels increasingly painful and confusing. A groundbreaking study from the University of Minnesota tracked couples over 7 years and found that anxious avoidant pairings showed the highest relationship distress and lowest satisfaction of all attachment combinations. And this wasn't because either attachment style was wrong, but because their inherent strategies for managing relationship stress fundamentally conflict with each other. And most significantly, research by Dr. Jeffrey Simpson found that attachment pattern change typically requires both internal motivation and a consistently different relational experience, which explains why Michael could begin healing with Olivia only after his own internal readiness had developed.
So now let's get to the heart of it. Michael's story reveals a profound truth about attachment healing. It must come from within. No amount of love, patience, or accommodation from Emma could have created the internal shift that Michael needed. His avoidance wasn't about her. It was about his relationship vulnerability itself. The most painful irony of the anxious avoidant dynamic is how both partners desperately want connection, but use strategies that make it impossible. Emma chased the closeness she craved, and that inadvertently triggered Michael's withdrawal. Michael created distance to feel safe, which unintentionally amplified Emma's fears. Each was trying to meet their needs in the only way they knew how, while making the other's wound deeper. If you've been in Emma's position, loving someone who consistently pulls away, please hear this. Their avoidance isn't about your worth. You aren't too much or not enough. That painful cycle you experienced, it reflects an attachment incompatibility that neither person can resolve alone. Walking away isn't giving up. It's recognizing that some relationship dynamics create suffering regardless of how much love exists. Perhaps the most liberating insights from Michael's journey is that healing always begins with accepting yourself exactly where you are. Michael couldn't grow from a place of self-judgment or shame about his avoidance. Healing started when he approached his patterns with curiosity rather than criticism, understanding that his defenses once protected him from very real pain. The same compassion applies if you have anxious tendencies. Your need for connection and reassurance isn't a flaw. It's a natural human need that becomes amplified when it's chronically unmet. Healing doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means understanding your attachment needs and finding relationships where they can be honored rather than judged. The greatest gift of attachment awareness isn't that it promises perfect relationships. It's that it helps us to stop blaming ourselves for dynamics that were set in motion long before we had any choice in the matter. And with this understanding comes the freedom to create new patterns based on compassion rather than criticism and awareness rather than avoidance. And if you're working through these patterns yourself, just know that you're not alone. We've been seeing in the comment sections how this beautiful and growing community is supporting one another through the hard but important work of healing attachment wounds. So join the conversation in the comments if you want to share your own story.
Michael's journey wasn't linear. There were times he slipped back into old patterns, canceling plans when feeling overwhelmed, or shutting down during difficult conversations. But what changed was his awareness and his willingness to repair these moments rather than justify them.
With Olivia, he created a relationship different from any he'd experienced before, one where he could maintain his sense of self while gradually building emotional intimacy. He learned that connection doesn't require losing independence. It enhances it by creating a secure base from which to explore the world.
Michael also reflected on his relationship with Emma with deeper understanding. He recognized that their attachment styles, his avoidance and her anxiety, created a painful dynamic where each person's coping strategy triggered the other's deepest fears. And this wasn't anyone's fault. It was the inevitable result of two contradictory attachment systems trying to find safety in fundamentally different ways.
This awareness brought Michael compassion for both himself and for Emma. He realized that Emma's pursuit wasn't about controlling him. It was her attachment system desperately seeking the connection she needed. Similarly, his withdrawal wasn't about rejecting Emma. It was his system protecting him from perceived emotional danger.
And this growth doesn't mean Michael no longer values independence or never needs space. Rather, he's learning to balance these needs with genuine connection, a balance that brings far greater fulfillment than isolation disguised as self-reliance.
In our next video, we'll meet Rebecca and explore the most complex attachment style, disorganized attachment, also known as fearful avoidant. This pattern combines both anxious attachment and avoidant tendencies, creating a unique relationship challenge that's often rooted in early trauma. Rebecca's powerful story will reveal how even the most complicated attachment patterns can heal with understanding and consistent support.
If you recognize aspects of Michael's story in yourself or someone you love, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What resonated with you? What steps have you taken towards more secure connection?
And don't forget to check out our free Boundaries and Attachment Styles quiz, which is linked in the description, to discover whether you're a cat, dog, hurdle, a cat, dog, turtle, or hedgehog.
Your time is valuable. Thank you for spending some of it with us today. And if you found this helpful and know someone who might be struggling with similar patterns, please share this video. It could provide the understanding they need.
Subscribe and take care of your heart. And remember, you're not alone. We're all in this
Together.